Hello and welcome back to the Making It podcast for another episode. Dan's giving us a wave already. Look at that. Dan,
Come on.
hello, mate. How you doing? Welcome to episode 14. I don't know why. For some reason, it feels like it's been a lot longer since the last time we did a podcast, even though it's only been a week.
No, I know what you mean. It does feel a little bit like that, even though it has just been a week.
Yeah.
I guess because it's Monday. Normally we film on a Sunday.
Yeah. For context, we're recording a bit late, and that's my fault. So. But we'll get into that sort of later in the episode. But we are here. It's Monday. Obviously coming out tomorrow. Well, today, I suppose, if you're listening. But Dan, good week?
Yeah. My mind's gone blank in terms of what happened in my week. But yeah. Last week.
He said yes like 4 times. Yeah.
Last week was a good week. I think recently most weeks have been good weeks. I think it's nice because I think I've been slowing things down in a really nice way lately. Not in a sense of I'm not getting things done, but I'm getting things done with no pressure on myself, no real rush. I'm actually spending quality time doing things. And I really feel like last week I had a lot of reflection and it was really nice because I feel like my life has been very on the go. But last week was a really nice way just to kind of relax and chill and get things done, but in a nice way. I got more uni work done as well, just by setting goals. That was my goal of the week personally. For the listeners listening, if you set a goal of the week, reflect on that now. But yeah, last week was good, and I'll get into some of the things I was thinking about, and we'll talk about it on this podcast. How was your week, Jay?
It's been really good.
Funny ending.
Just been, yeah. Well, it's been a bit stressful, to be honest. I mean, the actual week was good because I had a couple of days off, which was nice. I just spent some time with the dog, so just chilled with her really for a little bit while my mum and stepdad were out in London for his birthday, and we had dinner for my grandma's birthday on the Tuesday, so that was nice. It's been a nice family week, and then we went to Poland on.
Day to everyone.
Went to Poland on Friday, man, and it's sort of destined to go wrong from the start because I left my wallet at Stansted Airport, Wetherspoons. We got there and everything was fine. And then we found out that we're flying to Luton and not Stansted, where the car is and my wallet is. So
on the way back, in it, yeah.
On the way back, yeah. So we thought that was the only problem we had. Well, we got to Warsaw Airport later than we should have, admittedly. But things happen. You know, we assumed.
Too many Jaegers about before.
Well, yeah. Well, I was getting onto that. Cheers, Dan. But yeah, we had a few beers the night before watching Forest, and I got absolutely smashed. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It got quite that messy, but it was fun. And yeah, we went to Warsaw Airport at like 4 in the morning, and I was still probably a bit drunk then, to be honest. And we got there, and I said to the person at reception, I was walking with my mate Declan, so shout out, because I know you'll be listening to this, just to proof what I'm saying. But he said, "Oh, can we check in the flights to Luton?" And she's like, "We don't fly to Luton." So I'm like checking my boarding pass, like, "Oh, maybe we are flying to Stansted. Maybe it's all fine." And I'm like, "No, we're definitely flying to Luton." So I checked what airport we're flying from. Mate, we're only flying from the other airport, which is 45 minutes away. And the flight leaves in like an hour. So we bomb it to to the other airport, the right one in the city centre. And we missed the flight. Not happy because my mate who booked it all, but by the way, he knows that I love him really, so I'm not really annoyed. But I was at the time though. But it cost us like 100 quid, and then we had a fine for some rubbish thing that didn't exist. But
what'd you have a fine for?
Well, they said it was for late check-in, or for not checking in online, which isn't possible because we didn't book it online. We booked it in a desk because it was an emergency one. But they still charged us 40 quid and said we wouldn't be allowed on the flight if not.
Is that 40 each?
40 each, yeah. So it was like 135, 140 quid between the few of us. So it was, bro, I'll be honest with you, it was a very mentally challenging weekend. But we made it with time to spare, got the car, avoided a parking fine for being at the airport Stansted for too long. So we got from Luton to Stansted, brought the car out, drove home, and just sat down and unwinded to all the bar staff at the pub. So other than that, mate, it's been an absolutely wicked week. I had a great time. I watched Legia Warsaw. I had a few beers with some good mates. Met some Forest fans out in Poland, and just had a great, nice Saturday.
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, like after all that stress, bro, you're still alive and breathing. That's the main thing, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I've never done it. Do you know, this is the interesting thing about 2025 for me has been, and I'm going to ask you a question about this as well, is like the unexpected experiences. A lot of the stuff that I thought I'd maybe experience consistently, what I hoped I'd experience consistently, some of that has come true. But on the other side, a lot of the things that I never thought would happen have also come true. I never thought I'd miss a flight in my life because I'm super organized.
Yeah.
But we missed it, But the important part to that was, okay, you've missed your flight. Now what? Do you know what I mean? Like that was I actually thought of the podcast when it was happening. I was like, God, I'm panicking. I'm like just swearing so much. I'm just swearing at nothing. Like I'm walking around just going, like that, and just throwing my arms about, and I'm fuming, and I've had 1 hour's sleep. But then I'm like, okay, now what? So now we've got to book a flight. Okay, now what after that? We've got to do this. And it's all about that process after something going really wrong. But I kind of wanted to ask you about 2025 and maybe some of the unexpected things it's brought to you. How important has this new year been? I know that we're not in the new year, but in terms of this new 365 days that we're in now.
Bro, I think it's flew by. Like, I look at the date right now, it's the 31st of March already. We're almost in April, we're in spring. And bro, time flies, man. This year it's been amazing. It's been so important. I think every day is important, man. I just feel like I'm so privileged, so grateful for what's going on in my life right now. I just feel like every day I just learn more about myself and about this journey of making it that I'm on, that we're on. Bro, we're 14 episodes into this podcast. Like, I can't believe it. I mean, there's people like my dad, there's Judy, and they've been telling us that each episode keeps getting better as it goes on. And you kind of forget about these things because you get in the swing of it. But man, some experience I've had this year, the coaching, getting that final game win, that was unbelievable. And just the confidence that's given me is immense, really. I think something that comes to mind is the fact that I get along really well with my sports psych lecturer. And he's not taught me this semester, but I've still met with him for a coffee, and he invited me to that master's talk where I got to listen to the Aston Villa ladies, sports psychologist. That's been a great experience for me. I think just how I've been progressing with my mind and my thoughts. And last week, I just had a realization, because linking into this year, man, I've been doing this mentoring program with what they call Bazaar, and I've been doing it through the uni. I'm a mentor, Kirsty. Every week I've been meeting with her for an hour, an 8-week thing. It's just something she's doing for a placement, something I thought I'd do for a bit of experience to kind of know what it's like to be on the other side of things. As a sports psychologist, I'll be the one delivering therapy, so to call it, or advice and offering solutions to people. So it would be nice to see what it's like to be on the other end of that, opening up to someone I don't know particularly. And it was just great. I think this Friday I really reflected, and something I discovered was, I think we all struggle with it. I think we all get thoughts we don't want. I think if anyone tells me that they don't get thoughts they don't want, then I wish I was you. But like, we all get thoughts we don't want, things we struggle with, things we don't want to think about, which we still think about on a daily basis. And we've touched on it on the podcast, but I've kind of been realizing certain things I've been feeling, maybe to put a label on it, like maybe retroactive thoughts, either with my girlfriend, in my relationship, maybe jealousy about things from her past, which, they're not relevant now, but that it's a real thing. I think if anyone listening right now has experienced that, I think something I've kind of come to learn is I've given those thoughts a lot of time, and I'm now really realizing that those thoughts don't need time no more. And I think that relates to a lot of things, certain friendships, certain people we have in our life. And I'm one of those people who feels like they need to give everyone and everything time. Feel like I need to justify everything. I need to have everything needs a thought process. And it's good to think about your thoughts. My good friend Ollie speaks about having a thought about a thought. And I really like that. But I think those thoughts can go a bit too far. And we can go in a loophole. And once you start realizing thinking about that thought actually has a negative effect on you, I've really started to understand maybe certain thoughts I have in my life I don't want to give time. maybe certain people in my life I don't want to give time. I want to give that time to people who really deserve that time. Give that time to thoughts that are going to progress me, thoughts about family, friends. You know, I've always felt bittersweet about coming home because I don't want to see certain people I may not necessarily get along with. But now I want to go home thinking I can't wait to see you, brother. I can't wait to see my mum, my dad, my brother, loads of different people. And I'll ask you a question, bro. What's something in your life you feel like you think about, and you know, maybe you don't want to open up about something, but just something maybe light or on the surface level, but something you think about in your life you don't enjoy thinking about, but you think about it regularly. And what's something you then want to focus on a bit further? Maybe shift your thoughts from the thing you don't want to think about, give that less time. What things you want to give more time in your life, which you don't feel like you're giving enough time right now, bro?
Many things. Personally, like not having family around me, you know, because I would say that within my short life so far, I've been through like a lot of grief. Like we've lost a lot of family members, a lot of people close, you know, and quite quickly, within a very, very quick and close proximity of time. So I'd like to not think about people not being here and rather just spend that time that I'm thinking about it with them. It's that simple. I'll sit in my room and be worried or anxious about these things when I could just go and sit on the sofa with my mum or my stepdad, or I could ring up my grandma. You know, you can do these things. These things exist. From a work perspective, I worry too much about not making it, so I need to focus on making it. Like, because since this start of this podcast, I would say that I've evolved massively. You've evolved massively. I can see it. Like, I know that it's not a tangible thing that we can feel or we can like grab growth. But it's something that you can sort of visualize in your mind, you know. And our friendship has evolved to a much deeper sort of position than it was before. You know, I think that we understand each other on a much more deep and not atomic level, but like it is. Do you know what I mean? It's like I
don't even know what that means, bro.
Not an atomic level, but I'm trying to say it's quite minute, like it's quite precise. And you know, with work and stuff, I've just discovered that if I keep being me and I keep finding ways to innovate in my life and to keep making myself a better person and to to ground myself, because you know, when things are going really well, it's hard sometimes to be a little bit humble because you're like, oh my God, this is going great. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then you have to go, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, this is a process. You have to respect that process, because even though that process might give you, in my instance, 3 jobs commentating in the next 3 weeks, I can dream of that happening. You know, that's not a permanent thing. So you've got to stay grounded. And I think the point I'm basically trying to make, I'm going around the houses a little bit, but is that, you know, the time I could spend worrying about and sitting in bed, and this is one thing I'm really bad for. And to be fair, happened a little bit last week, but I am getting better with it. Obviously Poland knocked my schedule completely out the window. So I'm allowed a couple of days on that. But you know, getting out of bed was hard last week. I'd spend half an hour to an hour just on my phone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd get up early for work and I'd somehow end up only having a shower 15 minutes before and rushing. And I think, why am I doing that? Do you know, why am I doing that? And it's like, I'm worrying too much about something that I don't need to give my time to. But that's really tough. Like, I think anxiety is something that is like spoken about quite a lot, actually. You know, a lot of the time we say about mental health, it's not spoken about enough, but I actually think that anxiety is spoken about a lot. And I also think that sometimes it's spoken about, you can never speak about it too much, but people consume so much about other people's anxieties, they actually forget a little bit about their own. So when they go on Instagram, they'll see someone writing their story, and it's great. I love to see people that are opening up and sharing what's going on. But I also do feel like sometimes if you are someone that is struggling with anxiety or depression or any sort of mental health problem, sometimes it is kind of good to just be in your own circle for a little bit. Write down how you feel, maybe not to share it to a wider audience, but just to have it there, you know how you feel. And as we always say, and you always say, like, reflect, because that's really important. So you should definitely give the time to think about yourself in a positive light. And obviously, you know, in order to grow, not everything's going to be positive. It's like a flower, right? I've got another analogy. It's like a flower. You associate the sun with positivity, and you associate the rain with negativity. That's just a sort of pathetic fallacy. Like, that's the thing we do, right? When it rains, it's sad, sun, happy, right? But in order for a plant to grow, you need sun and rain. You need both. So when you're trying to grow as a person and you're trying to reflect on things that aren't going so well, you need that positivity. Like, hey, Dan, you did well. You're coaching, man. You smashed it. But then you need that negativity of maybe something you didn't do so great, like and it's constructively negative. You know, maybe a session needing to go to, right, or you didn't bring on the right substitution, but that's fine, because when you put those two things together, that equals growth. So I would say that when it comes to giving your time to things, sunshine and rain.
Bro,
So
I love that, man. I really love that, bro. And something I thought about which completely relates to that is, like you say, there's always going to be rain, bro.
Always.
You can't avoid that. There are going to be things that we think about which we don't want to think about on your journey of making it, whatever that is to the individual listening. There's going to be difficult moments. There's going to be things about that journey that you don't want to be thinking about because they bring you down in a way, or maybe not bring you down, but they just don't make you feel good. And you can't avoid those things, bro. We live a life where those things are present every day. It's quite literally ancestral. Like, back in the day, cavemen, if they heard something in the bush, they thought it was a lion, not a little bird tweeting along. Do you know what I mean? Like,
back in the day.
Very back in the day.
Yeah.
It genuinely is ingrained in our brains to think negatively first. And so I really love what you said there. And I think I said something on my Instagram this week. I said, we can't live 100% of our life real to us, because there's going to be things in our life which aren't real, which we have to, they maybe at some point we're around someone we don't feel is real to us. So that doesn't feel real, but you can't avoid those people. You know, they're on this planet just as much as we are. We're going to feel certain thoughts we don't necessarily agree with ourselves. They don't feel real to what we align to, but we still think about those things. There's going to be things that go on in the whole entire world, which we're like, hang on, how's that even going on? That don't feel real to me. That don't feel real to anyone. And it was interesting because I said, we can't always live 100% of our lives real. But what we can do is try to spend as much time possible doing those things that feel real to us. Not saying, but limit the things that aren't real. And someone commented and they said, isn't it those things in life which we don't agree with, which we don't necessarily enjoy doing, which is the real life? And it made me think. And I was like, I really enjoyed that comment because it made me think. And I said, I told them my perception, which is what I've just displayed. And I completely understand. Maybe it's a way we react to the things we don't agree with, the things we don't necessarily enjoy. Like you say, with doing certain things we don't want to do, like you waking up early and doing your gardening, but you almost have to in a way. It's understanding it's how we react to those things, how our resilience to those things. That's us being real. How are we going to react in a real way? Are you going to flap your hands and go, I don't want to do this? Or are you going to do what I know you would do, which is I'm going to get up and do this gardening because I know there's a higher purpose to this.
And exactly that. And, you know, you do have a choice, by the way. You do have a choice. So, you know, when I wake up in the morning, if I want, and if Craig and, you know, hopefully my boss, Mark, isn't listening to this, because I don't mean this in any, like, this isn't bad. But, you know, if I am a human being that could do whatever I want, I could literally just text and go, I'm not feeling it today, and just sit in bed and call in sick. But I don't do that, because you almost have to kind of, you know, put your blinds up, make your bed and go, why am I doing today? You know what I mean? But you always say, what is your why today? Well, my why on a Wednesday morning and a Thursday morning is I enjoy gardening. And I'll tell you that fully. Like, I won't tell you that at 10 to 8 in the morning, but I'll tell you that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we're 2 hours from finishing. I love gardening. I like being in the open space. Spring is a nice time to be out gardening. I like learning new things. You know, like last week, I learned how to prune rose bushes into shapes. And I'm learning how to prune trees into shapes, and I'm learning how to cut lawns in certain ways.
He's an architect.
I'm an architect of great gardening. Just drop us a text, you know. But these things sound boring, but the wider point is that I enjoy what I do. So when you're in bed and you're thinking, why? Well, as soon as I ask myself that question, why, the phone goes down and I get up. And I know as well, Why do I work? Because I need to raise money for Australia. I've got an actual objective. So setting yourself goals is important. Like I've got to raise £1,500 before the 1st of June. So I've got 2 months. Like I've just got to just grind, complete grind. But ask yourself that why, and just remember you will feel better, when you get out of bed. If you do sit in bed till 12 o'clock at lunchtime, you can do that. Everyone's different. I'm not shaming you. But you will feel better. Like that's because laying down and being in that relaxed state for me is only good 7 hours of the day. Do you know what I mean? That's it.
What's a real life to you?
A real life. Ooh, that's a big question. The thing is when people are listening to this, they'll probably be going, oh, that's an easy one. Just think about it for a second. What is a real life? I mean, it's different for everyone, I suppose. My real life is waking up in the morning, going to work, feeling a bit worried about things, having a bit of like a half an hour or an hour of being a little bit like, not really doing anything, being a bit lazy and kind of thinking, right, okay, what am I going to do today? And then after that is when I attack the day, and maybe I'm working in the morning or working at night or whatever it is, but it takes me a bit of time. But in terms of like a real life, what are you like asking for?
A life which, if you were to look back on your deathbed, so to speak, I don't want to talk about deathbeds, but I don't want to talk about that. I don't like saying deathbeds.
Yeah.
But if you were to reflect on your life, even so far, would you go, yeah, you know what? I did what felt right. I made the sacrifices which felt right to me. And I feel like I lived a fulfilling life in terms of what values that I align with and the things I really wanted to pursue.
I would say for the most part, yes. Not all the parts, but a lot of the things that I'm not necessarily too happy with, or things that I was when I was like 12 or 13 or 14, where you kind of you are getting to that age where you're with your mates, you're trying to make them laugh, or you're just doing stupid shit to try and make them giggle a bit. And like in sixth form, sometimes I don't think I really put enough effort in, and I didn't align with the principles I have now. Because if I went to sixth form now, I know that I'd achieve better than I did. I know it for a fact, and I know that I would put a lot more effort in. But my other principles are the fact that you can't, not principles, but my other things that I live by, that you can't change the past. So now I have to live by that. If I was to reflect, I would say that I'm, for the most part, as authentic as I can be. Things I definitely change, and things I am going to change. But that moment when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, that's when you make the decision. Like, what do I want to change today? But it doesn't have to be like what accent do I want to have today? Or like, it's not like you're not customizing your character. It's not like how's it going, mate? All right. It's not like a video game. I'm not like changing my personality or anything. It's just, okay, what tiny tweak could I make from yesterday that will make me a better person today? And I'll relate it to your football, Dan, because last week I did my session, and it's like a breakout rondo. So I actually drew up like a 3-part plan for the exercises I want to do in training, went and laid out the pitch, and Ryan kind of supervised them while I was making the layout for the next pitch and measuring it all out. And the first 5 minutes, all of the lads were kind of like, what on earth is this guy talking about? Like, where do I go? What do I do? And none of them were really getting it that much. And I said, just keep trying. Just keep trying, keep trying. And we must have been there 10 minutes. And then one of them was like, oh, I get it. I get this now. Okay. And then one of the teams scored a goal. Oh, I get it now. And they got it. And for the next half an hour, we're doing this drill, and it went wicked. I was so happy. And when Ryan was the manager of the team, he was with the other coach of the team we were about to go and do after this. So at 7 till 8 o'clock. And he came over and said, I want you to do that drill with my kids there. And that made me feel like, wow, that's like a wow. That's like, what? Do you know what I mean? How am I in this position? But yeah, I think like with the real life stuff we're talking about, that's what I've wanted to do for a long time. I've wanted to do it for ages, but I've not gone and done it because A, you have to be 18, and there is obviously that consideration. But B, I've been a little bit nervous to kind of like assert myself as someone that people should listen to and take advice from, because we've played together football wise. I'm not the greatest footballer there is, but I like to get involved. So those, as I was kind of mentioning before, those small little tweaks you can make every week. I'm making small tweaks every time I put my football gear on. That's me as a coach. That's like my coaching personality's just gone on. As soon as I put that whistle around my neck, I'm like, right, cool. We're in the game now. We're in the mode. Is there anything that you kind of do? And I'm going to open up a little bit here, but is there anything that you kind of do that you kind of, I don't know how to word it, bro. Like,
just say it. Just say it.
Like I've got these, right? You see this? It's like a little band there. I like to wear them. It makes me feel not as nervous when I do things. I don't know why, but maybe you'll understand this because it's like a psychology thing. But if I don't wear these playing a football match, I'll be a bit nervous. Like, it might be a superstition thing, but I don't think it is. I think it's like a layer of protection. Do you know what I mean? That's a really weird thing to say.
Yeah. No, that's completely valid, man. I think it is. It's almost, when you mentioned it, I was thinking safety. I was thinking it's something you can look to, and it's like, bro, it's a wristband on your arm, but you put that band on your arm with a good will to play good at football. So when you look at that band on your arm, that represents you playing well. That represents something good you thought about. So you feel it gives you a drive, even though it is just a band on your wrist. Like, it's the incentive you had putting that band on your wrist, not the actual band itself. For years, man, I was doing this. A little prayer where I put the number 3 to the sky, because the number 3 is my lucky number, but it also is an even deeper meaning. When my granddad passed away on the 3rd of December, number 3, I scored a hat-trick at football.
No way.
And I did the 3 to the sky. So that's the deeper meaning behind it. And sometimes, even now, I used to do it every day. That was a bit of a superstition. But now I just do it when I just feel like it. Maybe a little message to the granddad. You know what I mean? It's like these things. I know why you didn't want to label it as a superstition, because they have bigger meaning. They represent something. It's like, that's why people have religion. That's why people have faith, because it represents who they want to be, something they want to represent. Very interesting, man. And going into the sports psychology world, I'm sure I'll come across a lot of those things. I mean, already doing some of the work at Leek, the amateur swimmers, the kids, 11 to 15-year-olds, like, they had to have a certain friend putting their swimming cap on for them before a swimming competition. Like, these things are real, man. I think it's just how they make you feel. And something I wanted to touch on what you said earlier, I don't want to let it go. When you said the word authenticity, bro, I love that word, man. I love that word. We have all these things in life. We talk about our coaching. We talk about your commentating, my sports psychology, all these things you can work towards, all these things you can read up on, you can search online, you can be told by someone, things that can be taught. And I think some things like authenticity, right? No one knows what's authentic to you other than yourself. You feel that within your soul, right? And it's so interesting because Drew Broughton talks about it. This guy I follow on LinkedIn, he's ex-footballer. He's so into it, like the fear, the heart, and the soul. And he was talking about Pep Guardiola. And he said in his interview after Bournemouth, he said, we've been lacking heart and soul this season. Man City. He didn't talk about tactics. He didn't talk about certain players they need to bring in. He actually said, it's not about the players we bring in. He said it's about him at the top. Him as the manager, him as the people look to, about having that heart and soul, that desire, that authenticity. It's something you can't, like you said earlier, these things aren't tangible. Only you know what's authentic to you. Only you know what your heart and soul is. And that, I guess, ties into a real life. It's doing that as much as possible. What's authentic to you and doing that in your daily life. So I didn't want to let that slide, because it's such a big thing. We all feel it. We all know when we do something which we're like, that was not me. This ain't me. Don't do those things, man. And sometimes, like we say, you're going to have to do those things, but limit those things. Bro, I love authenticity, man.
It's a brilliant thing. And, it is what you are. And, you know, I would like to think that when someone speaks to me on social media or how I am on this podcast, that's exactly how I am in real life. You know, probably with add a little bit of a swear here and there because you know I do like a swear. But you know, we can only be as authentic as kind of our ego allows us to be in a weird way. Like that sounds a bit strange, but like sometimes people's ego outgrows that authenticity. You know, and again, I you know, there's people we know that are like that. There's people that we don't know that are like that, but that's just the way human beings are. But I would hope that for the sake of your happiness, that you find your authentic self. And if you already know what it is, stick with it, man. Like stick with it, because it will take you to good places. It's only when you stop being authentic to try and please someone else that you will run into problems. You know, that in my opinion, it is what it is. And I think it all comes from a lot of things like having better friends, you know, a really nice, you know, a good support system. And I'm quite lucky, as I say, with you and with Declan and, you know, my family that I've got a really good close-knit support system that is there for me whenever I need it. And I don't, you know, it doesn't really kind of have a consistent time of when I need it. Like it's not like every Tuesday I'm feeling crap. You speak to me then. It's like it's 2:00 in the afternoon. I feel like rubbish. So, you know what, I'm going to call Dan. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. So I respect you for that, mate. You know, but yeah, I would say that 2025, to that broader point that we were making at the very start, has been a really beautiful year so far. And it's definitely allowed us to discover ourselves a lot more, discover more about each other, discover more about our friends. You know, I've been for coffees with people that I didn't think I'd go for coffees with ever. You know, shout out Callum and Jacob. I didn't think that we'd be going on coffees or doing anything like that, you know. But I really enjoyed it. It was nice to spend time with them both. You know, and Jacob's obviously doing his thing. Callum's doing his thing. I'm proud of my friends. You know, I'm proud of my friends for doing what they're doing. But, you know, it is just nice, as we said in the last episode, actually, presence, or it might have been the episode before. I think it was last episode. Might be the one before. But presence isn't enough, you know.
Last episode.
It was last episode. Yeah, presence isn't enough. Spending that quality time with them is. So, you know, that kind of another underlying point you made about the kind of the time you give to things, you know, your friends in that support system this week as well, I feel particularly grateful for.
Nice, man. And I'll ask you the making it question of the week. Are you a glass half full or glass half empty person, or are you a mixture of both?
Ooh.
I'll go first, man. I'll go first. I
Go
feel
for it.
the reason why I had that mixture of both is because I feel like I'm a mixture of both. I look at the glass and it's half full, and I'm like, I'm so grateful for what's there already. But then I look at the bit that's empty, and I look forward to filling that up. I think about how can I fill that up to then feel grateful for that, and then it grows. You know, I just thought about that the other day, man.
Yeah, I think I'm a mix as well, because again, like that half is so important, and it's everything. It's the minerals of everything that you are. But at the same time, the other half is potential for more things. You know, for more, you know, good attributes or whatever else. So yeah, a bit of a mix of both. It's such a hard question. If anyone can give me just either one of them, I'd be super shocked, but I would respect it completely.
Comment below if you got it.
Yeah, comment below.
In terms of interacting with us, people, do it. Comment on our Spotify's, follow our Instagrams, Making It Poddy, TikTok, same. We're going to start doing more stuff on the Facebook and the Twitter. But follow these things, and on our YouTube as well, subscribe. And we've got vlogs on there. I'm currently in the works of the vlog when Jamie came up to visit, so you don't want to miss that one. So go and consume these things. I will mention as well, later on in this week, for the listeners listening, there will be a guest episode again, another Making It Moments with someone who I'm not going to reveal, but you will see that later on in the week. So please tune into that. It'll be a special one. But other than that, Jamie, I think that's been a great episode, man.
I've really liked it. I've really, really liked it. Special shout out as well to Nottingham Forest Football Club, because they make my life so difficult. They make our life so difficult, Dan. But they are brilliant. They got through to the FA Cup semi-finals at Wembley. So that, you know what, I am trying at the moment to get accreditation for Wembley. So we'll have to wait and see if I can get it. But if I do, to go and commentate. If I do get it, I will do a vlog. That's a promise.
Awesome.
So, yeah, but we'll give us time for that anyway. But Dan, I hope you've had a good week, mate. It sounds like you've had a pretty good week. It's been good to chat to you. That was episode 14 of the Making It podcast, back every single Tuesday, 10 in the morning. Keep an eye on our social media throughout the week as well, because we're there all the time. So speak to you soon. Have a great week. And that was episode 14. See you soon.
Take care, people.
Feel so right.